addicted to their addictions. They provide powerful tools to help recovering addicts manage life challenges and win their battle with substance abuse. Many of Unity Recovery Group's clients arrive at a crossroads in their lives. Some have gone through their unsuccessful and disheartening attempts at recovery. But for all of them, Unity is a place where they can honor a promise they made to themselves to take responsibility for their futures. If you or any family member are struggling with addiction, call Unity Recovery Group at 855-730-4355 or go to their website at unityrecoveryrehab.com. Learn how to love life again without the crutch of substance abuse. No two patients' addictions are alike, so individualized treatment is crucial. Let Unity Recovery Group show you why they are one of the most trusted and caring providers of addiction recovery treatments. Call them today at 855-730-4355.
And we're back. Wow, we just go from the top DUI attorney to the...
He's such a nice guy, Michael Lee there.
To the top addiction recovery center. And you and I have known this for a long time. And if you can get hooked up with Unity, wow, you've got the best. And we want to welcome. We have a doctor in the house.
We do.
Yes. First of all, if you'd like to watch our show, go to www.wwnnradio.com. On the left-hand side, you're going to see WNN TV link. Click there. You can actually watch our show live today. And we have Dr. Emily Stevens, the Chief Clinical Officer of Unity Recovery Center.
Welcome to the show, Dr. Stevens.
Thank you.
Also, if you have a question, you can call us at 888-565-1470.
You know, this show is, if we can just touch, I know you know this, if we can just touch one person from the show.
Absolutely.
Wow, we've kind of done our job, haven't we?
Yes.
And this time of the year, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the holiday season? Is that really a tough time for you guys, or a busy time?
It's busy and tough. You know, this is the toughest time of year for everybody who has addiction issues, family issues. So many people. This is the time of year where it's a party time,
Yes,
but it's
and people
also
are invited to parties, there's
absolutely.
alcohol.
But also then, you know, I hate to say it, but those family occasions that sometimes get a little intense.
Yes.
So, you know, it's a really high risk time for everybody.
Or depression. People get depressed around the holidays.
A lot of depression, a lot of sadness, you know, bereavement,
Loneliness.
Loneliness, a lot of loneliness. You know, if you watch the media, you know, we highlight relationships and
Everything looks so wonderful.
Yes. And if you watch movies, you know, I was watching an old movie last night. I was like, wow, you know, it really does make you lonely for people.
Yes.
And the perfect Christmas or the perfect holiday. And so it really can bring up a lot of
Puts you in a
emotions for
bad
people.
way, yes.
Yeah.
I just
Tell
read
everybody-
about Judge Pollock,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a judge, and she had, I guess, sobriety for like 10, 15 years, and then her son got real sick, and
Set her
that's
back,
when
yeah.
kind of set her
Yeah,
back. So
yeah.
you never know what it's going to be.
No, and you know what's amazing is everybody thinks about it as sort of when they think about people who are in recovery, they think about the addict on the street or in the, you know,
Which is not always the
no,
case.
and I can't tell you like how many times we have mothers who have been stay-at-home moms for years, you know, the housewife trying to take care of everyone and everything, and slowly but surely things have sort of just snowballed for her. With alcohol
Or prescription drugs.
prescription pain pills. You know, we have a lot of people. It's amazing how critical people are because we have people who have been injured and then, you know, got onto pain pills. But you know what a lot of people forget is really death, a death in the family, a death of a spouse they've been with for years. I can't tell you how many older clients we have. And, you know, within just a couple of years, it snowballs either to alcohol or something else to help cope with the grief.
Wow.
And you know what? Tell everybody a little bit, just kind of
About your
describe
background, yeah.
your
Yeah.
background and Unity also, because some people who've never been, you know, maybe never been to a facility, they don't know what to think of. But your facility is beautiful, though, actually.
Well, yeah, if you're going to go somewhere for a period of time to actually get healthy, you really want to go somewhere that is healthy itself and
tell
nice
everybody
and
where it's
beautiful.
located.
Well, we are located in North Palm Beach and also in Hope Sound, Florida. So we have multiple locations depending upon where people want to come, and we have people who come to us from all over the country. So, yeah.
And about your
My
background.
background, yeah, this is over 20 years for me clinically. I've worked in a wide range of working with different people with all hosts of mental challenges and issues, children, adolescents, and adults, and actually started working with recovery in 1995. It seems like a long time ago.
It does.
But over the years, working with an array of individuals with challenges. But what happened in '95 is we began talking about clients with what are called dual diagnosis issues.
Which is what? Explain to people what that is.
It's people who not only have addiction issues, but they also have depression or anxiety. They have some other issue going along, trauma, PTSD. And so, but in the early days of recovery, when people would go to treatment, no one wanted to talk about those things. Those were, you go to mental health for addiction.
Right. And you would think those two sometimes go
Right.
hand in hand.
Right, no, and they do go hand in hand. And in fact, for most of us, we know that there are very few addicts I've met that don't have something else going on in their life.
Exactly.
And I think most addicts that you talk to will say, hey, the reality is that something happened along the way, a trauma, something occurred that caused me emotionally to begin to shift and begin to need to use. And especially if it's early on. And so I actually started providing trainings in '95 on dual diagnosis to addiction recovery centers, saying, hey, our clients have both. And at that time, though, when you went to recovery, when you went to treatment, we didn't talk about depression or anxiety or
You
any
would
of
just
that.
treat it for the
That's mental
addiction.
Just
health.
addiction.
Right, so
It
they
was
weren't
just-
addressing
yes.
the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know that when I would try to refer a client that had both, I would often get denied?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say, but you don't understand it. I need to clean this client up.
Right, because most of the time there's an underlying problem that has to
Absolutely.
be addressed.
So I need to clean them up so I know what I'm actually dealing with.
Yes.
How much, do we really have here? Do we have bipolar? Do we have depression? What do we really have going on here?
And plus, you've already got them there. Why would you want to send them to a mental health facility
Right.
somewhere maybe thousands of miles? You've
Right.
got them there, which is,
Right.
I guess that's the hardest part, is getting people to accept or
Or to
understand.
admit that they have a problem.
Right. Taking that first step first to admit that they have a problem and then begin to do the work. And, addiction is a really tough thing. It's not something you kick overnight. As you know, like when you talk about people who relapse and
Right,
they'll
after
say
10 years.
After 10 years, a prime example. And it usually, I know a lot of people, it takes one event, an accident, a death, a divorce,
To set them back.
an illness, and then, it's just too much stress.
So basically, you're recovering forever.
Yes, you really are. Yeah.
Your job must be so difficult because people want instant. They want to, and you talk to someone who's had these problems for 15, 20 years, and in 1 week you want to get better. It just doesn't work that way. So I would think that really makes your job that much tougher because it's just not going to happen overnight.
Oh, it does. Because, we're an instant, I call it like the fast food society. We're like fast everything. We want
Exactly.
instant everything. And that's a real challenge because there's no magic pill. And, many times what's happening is people are going from an addiction to then wanting to take something to make the emotions better or make something feel differently. And it's just not, it doesn't work that way. There's no quick fix.
Well, a lot of people have been using for a while, and it takes a long time before they even
Right.
admit that they have a problem.
Right.
So obviously, it's not going to happen overnight just to get rid of
No.
whatever the problems are.
Right.
So tell everybody a little bit about Unity Recovery.
Well, Unity Recovery actually is, I started when we were really small, and this is the accumulation of a wonderful dream of someone who was in recovery, who really said, I want to do it different. He had experienced and looked at different recovery models and said, I want to create a continuum of care that is incredibly different, that people can get the experience that I felt like I really needed. And so what we have is we actually have a continuum of care from detox, so where people can come into detox, all the way into outpatient
So it's
counseling.
an inpatient facility.
It is. We're actually an inpatient detox,
Right.
and then we step down to what we call a partial hospitalization. So our clients come and they come to therapy during the day, and then they stay in our private residences at night.
And what happens to those people that are in recovery that have jobs? Can they come as an outpatient also?
They can. They absolutely can come as an outpatient. A lot of people, it's sort of the challenge, but one of the first steps is to really take some time and really work with the addiction. So most people, after they go through detox, will go for at least 20 to 30 days of recovery. And usually they're going to you choose to go somewhere where you can sometimes be away from everything or be in a more secure environment. a little more structured environment. It's very hard for people. Think about just going through 5 days of detox and then going back home. That's a really tough thing. Right back to your familiar environment, right back to all the things that trigger you or make you want to use. So,
well, we have a lot of listeners in New York who listen to our show on iHeart, and I know that you don't have to live in Florida to come, and a lot of times it's better that they do get away from their environment.
Absolutely.
So, if you've got a friend or a family member, this is the greatest place. First of all, get them out of New York. Renee's going to hate me for saying that. Bring them to beautiful, sunny
No, it's
Florida.
cold in New York right now.
Yes.
So you don't have to just live here. So if you've got a family member in New York,
And I'm sure
or
a
New
lot
Jersey,
of people travel here just to come for
Well,
treatment.
and I will say a significant number of our clients come from out of state. And because the reality is if you're going to go somewhere for 20 to 30 days or longer, you're going to want to go somewhere where it's pleasant or enjoyable.
Exactly.
I mean, for most of us, if it's going to be a long amount of time, I want to go somewhere safe, secure, but enjoyable. And so we get a lot of people from the Northeast.
what other addictions do you treat? It's not just alcoholism and drugs, is it?
No, we don't. We treat everything. We do get some clients with some sex addiction, gambling addiction,
Depression.
pain. Absolutely. So, I mean, if the full array. Now, there are certain things, depending upon the level of the addiction, that we may refer them out for, depending upon what somebody's struggling with or the amount of challenge that they're having with it. If we feel like they need a specialist, like we get a lot of eating disorders, believe it or not, and so there are a lot of people who are using who also are eating disorders, and so depending upon how stable or unstable they are, we may refer them out because of their medical needs.
Because we have a little bit older audience, and pain addiction, the pills,
huge.
is gotten just sad, but it's just gotten so big. But so you do treat the pain pill addiction.
Oh, we do. We actually have
I
quite
think that's very prevalent. Yes.
We do. It is very prevalent, and it's become more prevalent over the last several years. I mean, it's really a commonplace. And in fact, I always like to remind people it's because again, it's people have these pictures of addicts, but it's grandmothers and grandfathers. And
Well, the thing is with pain medications, most of the time, like you said, somebody may have had surgery or an injury and they start taking the pain meds and you don't realize how addicting they become.
No, they really don't realize. And it's really tough to kick. And a lot of it, though, is not only the addiction to the pain pill, but it's also a mental part. It is, how can I live without this? How can I manage the pain? And so one of the things we do is we do specialize in an array of other treatments besides just clinical therapy. We have some specialized brain-based therapies.
We're going to get into that next. We're going to talk about We're going to go to break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we are. We're going to talk about brain-based intervention.
Perfect.
And we will be right back.
Unity Recovery Group specializes in helping people who are struggling with and feel trapped by the only disease that tells you you don't have one. They deliver industry-leading holistic therapies in a clean environment and help real people discover the distress and trauma contributing to their addictions. They provide powerful tools to help recovering addicts manage life challenges and win their battle with substance abuse. Many of Unity Recovery Group's clients arrive at a crossroads in their lives. Some have gone through their unsuccessful and disheartening attempts at recovery. But for all of them, Unity is a place where they can honor a promise they made to themselves to take responsibility for their futures. If you or any family member are struggling with addiction, call Unity Recovery Group at 855-730-4355 or go to their website at unityrecoveryrehab.com. Learn how to love life again without the crutch of substance abuse. No two patients' addictions are alike, so individualized treatment is crucial. Let Unity Recovery Group show you why they are one of the most trusted and caring providers of addiction recovery treatments. Call them today at 855-730-4355.
And we're back. God, I love doing this show. Because I know that we're going to touch somebody out there. We're
Or
here,
somebody has a family member.
Exactly. We're here with Dr. Emily Stevens, the Chief Clinical Officer of Unity Recovery. They are on with us each month. And
Let's talk about the brain-based intervention. So describe that. Tell everybody what that is.
Okay, great. And I will tell you, that's probably my biggest area of passion. I love it. Brain-based therapies are non-invasive. techniques and technologies that are used to improve brain functioning. So most people say, like, that sounds sort of a little scary, a little weird, but it's really not. I mean, one of the things that I tell people is over time, we've all had an impact to our brain, either the way we're eating, our health, some of the things we do from smoking to drinking to using. So if we improve brain functioning, we have a greater chance that we'll actually improve the way we feel, the way we respond, the way we do things.
How about the way we were raised? Because childhood could last, the way you were raised as a child could last for a long time.
Absolutely, it sure does. So when we improve brain functioning, you have a greater chance of changing those patterns.
Oh,
Because those are patterns of behavior. I call them, your comfort zones. You match a good brain-based therapy with a good psychotherapy with a good therapist, and you've got some amazing opportunity for improvement.
So how long have you been involved with this, with doing this and researching it?
Yeah, since 1992.
a
That
long
dates me a little,
time.
doesn't it?
how did you become interested in that?
Well, and that's an interesting story. I'll make it short because it could.
No, you don't. Yeah.
No, we've got time.
Oh,
Yes,
12
absolutely.
minutes.
Okay. So, you know what? I came out of graduate school and my mentor said, I want you to take a look at some of these therapies that I'm looking at bringing in. And I have to tell you, my first response was, no, I'm not really interested. I'm a trained psychotherapist, fresh out of grad school, you know it all, right? And so he's like, no, I really want you to check this out. And so I said, fine, if it'll make you happy. And he was signing off on my license. So, that always was a little, and so, but I have to tell you, it took me one day with the brain-based therapies and a consultant we brought in, and it changed the rest of my career. I mean, I literally can say that since 92.
Is that similar to like behavioral therapy? Like it's like you're inputting things in somebody's mind and taking away some negative stuff?
No, not really. I mean, because when you're talking about behavioral therapy, you're talking about changing thought patterns.
Okay, so this is not like that.
Right. So what we're doing with brain-based therapy is we're doing different types of stimulation or exercise techniques. So, for example, neurofeedback is brainwave biofeedback. So what we do is we place a little sensor on the head. It gives you visual and auditory feedback of when you're exercising different areas of the brain and when you're not. And so literally what we do is our goal is to improve or change that brain functioning in that area.
So is it changing the way you're thinking, or
when you
addictions?
Yeah, well, when you change, and they go to hand in hand. When we change that brain functioning. So, for example, let's imagine that the frontal lobe is running too slowly. When we do an exercise model and we improve it, we make it run faster, more at what we consider like a normal. I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible, but more at what we consider a normal range. Then yes, your thought patterns are going to change. Your impulse control, like people who are too impulsive or who aren't responding in a thoughtful manner. So you begin to see changes in thinking. You see changes in attention,
How
focus.
long does something like that take?
On average, it depends on the individual. It's not a quick fix. It's on average, it can take 20 to 30 sessions. But our clients, it's available to our clients as part of treatment.
But how's it changed since that first piece you did in 1995?
Oh, has it changed? Oh my goodness, boy, has it changed. Well, our technology is compared to what it used to be. My original EEG was this huge, large box. And now they're the size, of a cell phone.
Right.
So they're it's just amazing. So the technology has come a long way, but the research that we have 20 years later is tremendous. We have research not only with neurofeedback, but what we call auditory visual stimulation and cranial electrostimulation, all of which are considered acceptable techniques as adjuncts to treatment. So again, the goal being everything to manage depression, anxiety, migraines, blood pressure. I mean, we use all these technologies to help learn self-regulation.
What about the alpha stem treatment?
Oh, the alpha stem. I have to tell you, I've worked with a couple executives who told me that it is the best thing since sliced bread.
Wow.
What is it?
One of them told me if he'd had it 20 years ago, it changed his career. He would not have been, so difficult. But it is actually a little device that clips on the ears. You feel light tingling. But what it does is it relaxes the nervous system. So people, when they are feeling like they're going to jump out of their skin, I know there are people who are listening who they know exactly
They feel anxious.
Oh yes, they're anxious.
So what they do is they end up taking pills
They absolutely do, or
alleviate
drinking, or or smoking marijuana. They use something to help calm their system. Well, the alpha stem is actually FDA approved for depression and anxiety, and within 5 minutes, it takes the anxiety right away. I mean, it just drops it right down.
So how often
it's
do you have
safe. It's effective. You can do it
how
daily.
long does it last for?
You can do it daily for 30 to 60 minutes, and it usually lasts for about 24 to 48 hours. And when people start doing it on a regular basis, it starts lasting longer and longer. So it's, I mean, literally, I have clients who have it at home. So they start with it in treatment and then they take it home. It's a much healthier, better option. I mean, can you imagine? Most people would say it's like having half a glass of wine without the wine. I mean, that's what.
Is this all meant for a certain age group, or male or female?
It's really not. I use it with all ages, and I can tell you, I had a number of large grants previously that I used it with 6 to 18-year-olds.
Wow.
We use the same technology for very aggressive youth to help them actually reorganize and decrease aggression episodes. And so it's an invaluable technology.
And does it start working right away?
It does, within 5 minutes.
So if you're feeling anxious, you have these brainwaves or whatever it is on your ears.
Right. It's just like they're little sensors that clip on the ears, and it's like light tingling. It's stimulating the brain at a specific frequency, but it's also stimulating the nervous system to calm it down. Some of the listeners probably have had a TENS unit before that they put on their back.
I
can guarantee you there are a few people who've heard of the TENS unit. The chiropractor or the pain management doctors have put on their back. It actually came out of that arena. It came out of that technology arena where they began to realize that if they use that stimulation at certain spots, at certain frequencies, people felt better. And they're like, wow, I'm feeling better. Wow, I'm feeling happier. And so as a result, they continued to investigate and develop the technology now that just clips on the ears. And literally within 5 minutes, you feel relaxed.
So people that aren't even, that don't have addictions but do feel anxious,
yes.
they can be treated. I mean, this is a perfect
it's a great
thing
technology.
to have done, yes.
Yeah, it's a great technology.
I've got like 10,000 questions for the doctor.
Okay. You don't have 10,000 minutes, though.
I know, but didn't you at one time, I read somewhere that you dealt with horses as part of therapy.
We
Did
do.
I read that right? Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah. You
Using
do.
horse therapy?
Equine therapy.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yes.
So we do. We use horses as a part of our therapy. We use an array of techniques depending
amazing.
upon the facility. One of our facilities is very adventure based, and so for people who want to be more active, who need to be more active, especially you have some clients who are older ADHD clients, and so just sitting in a chair all day is not going to be helpful to them. So they're out and doing different activities for therapy. But the horses are wonderful vehicles. They are amazing in the way they respond and in the way we can interact with them. It's a very therapeutic model. From the way someone approaches a horse tells you all about them, and so that we give that feedback to them. But it's really an interesting process for many of the clients to experience. It's an array.
Whatever happened to just the 12-step program? You guys just do everything.
Well, because in 12, we do 12 steps. 12 steps a part of our, programming. But one of the things that I think along the way is it is really important to decrease relapse. And I think along the way, as the research has come out and we've continued to look, we know that there's a lot more going on here. There's enormous amounts of research. I was just pulling some from last week at a conference I was at on the brain. Because literally one of the things we're doing is we're specializing interventions according to what the research says and according to the type of drug use to improve outcome.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What advice would you give family members that have, a child or a parent that have an addiction and they don't want to go into treatment and they're concerned? So what advice would you give them to help them convince them that they do have a problem, that they need to go in to a facility?
Well, there are so many things, but one of the things it's just imperative. Many times family members have to say, we're not going to help you any longer. We're not going to enable you.
Love.
Oh, tough love.
Yes.
And probably a lot of people don't want to hear that, but probably the number one thing is many times you have to have some tough love and say, you know what, this is it.
An intervention.
An intervention, and a lot of people do interventions. I had one family who told a client, this is it. We're all done, and they were all in tears saying, we can't do this, but we're all done. And it was to mom, if you don't go to treatment, because we can't do this with you anymore. And it was a really tough experience, but it is saying enough is enough. We care about you and we love you too much, but we cannot continue to support this behavior because you'll die. I mean, the reality is you will die.
And there's so many things that evolve from addiction.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes, I hate to put it this way, because I'm a prayer counselor, and it could be death or prison.
No, it's very serious.
Oh, it's very, very serious. And, and it's not just the drugs, it's the impact on the body. So many people, the continued long-term impact
on your health. Absolutely.
Yes.
So once you've gone to the treatment facility, and if you're an inpatient, do you have another facility once you've already done the 12-step program to go in after the recovery program?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a continuum of care for people. So when some people are finished with what we call our basic partial or 30-day program, if they're not quite ready to go back, we can step them down to a lower level of care. So
is there a living facility as well?
There is a living facility for them. We have private residences for them. We have private apartments for everybody to live in. And I have to tell you, they're really nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure they
nicer
are.
than some of our own homes.
No, because you think that once you get out of the facility, you're going back to your problems.
Right. And, it depends on the individual. What we try to do is we try to start preparing from the day they get there. We start trying to prepare people. We have clients who are young people, 18 to 25, to people who are 40 to 55, who are professionals, CEOs, physicians, lawyers. We have a full array of clients. So one of the things we try to do is we do specialized treatment, but we also try to specialize what their needs are. So we try to adjust. I have people who have to continue running businesses. They have to be, and we try to help them minimize it as much as possible.
Can they continue therapy once they get out?
Yeah, they can. One of the things that's really important is we try to make sure that once they finish our program, regardless of what level of care it is, that we do have a plan for them. Wherever they're going back to, we have a plan that they're going back to.
Or even if they need to call somebody.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they can always call.
Perfect. Give everybody your phone number again.
Yes, give everybody your number.
So anyone can call, and we'll be glad to talk with you and give you more information. It's 855-788-7023.
And your website?
Our website is, we have a number, but urgrehabcenters.com.
Okay.
Perfect.
Listen, you don't have to go anywhere else. If you've got a friend, somebody you know, a relative, don't let them continue being miserable. Not when you've got a facility right here in our own backyard. We love having you guys on. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Dr.
so much
Stevens, for coming in with us today.
And we will be back on Monday with another Ask the Experts.
We will, 4 o'clock.
Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Peace and love.
We're out.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show with Steve-O and Renee. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed